My name is David Crowell, 4200 FM 150 in Kyle, Texas. I want to address my comments tonight to Mr. Mayor, the City Council, and whoever else is really in charge of this city. It appears that at your last meeting there were 8 people who stood up here and voiced their support of EP's well project. It also appears every one of them is either getting paid to support this project or is a former or current associate of Billy Gray. I don't really know that much about Karen McBee, but she's apparently living with Eddie Odell, so I'll just consider her as getting paid also. Same goes for the testimony at the Capitol. Seems like the only ones in favor have a financial gain at stake. However, that's not what I want to speak to you tonight about. I want to speak about your lobbying efforts at the Capitol. Your agenda of April 7th had an item regarding entering into a professional services agreement with the Epstein Group to provide a communications plan for the city's water planning and conservation efforts. Now, does that sound like lobbying at the Capitol? Representative Isaac has indicated that they not only are lobbying against the water bills, but are actively opposing many of his other bills. Council members, I hope at least one of you has the courage to ask this lobbying group for a presentation to council detailing their efforts in the legislature along with the results of their communication plan. I also understand there's some confusion within the city manager's department regarding the availability of an alternate source of water to meet your short-term deficit. Since it's becoming more and more apparent that this project will be delayed beyond the date you will supposedly run out of water, I strongly suggest you view the video of last night's Senate hearing. That should clear up any questions you might have about meeting your short-term water needs, and hopefully free up some of your time for you to take a hard look at your city's ability to plan for your future needs. I'm also looking at your lobbyist talking points regarding the Barton Springs bill. I find it ironic that you hurriedly signed a contract with EP last January, which specifically said Buda would be responsible for any production fees in the event the area were put into a groundwater district, and now your lobbyist is suggesting some totally ridiculous language which would exempt you from those fees. I find it curious that no one from EP and no one from the city of Buda spoke against this bill at the House Natural Resources Committee in late March. Yet Mr. Laborde tells the Senate committee last night that this bill is bad for Buda. Finally, the same talking points state, in the event we can't come to an agreement on any of this language, we would ask for language that this legislation not impact existing contracts. Now, Mr. Laborde told the committee you do have a contract, and I believe you, Mr. Mayor, have been saying you don't have a contract until the water is proven up. Which is it? You got a contract or you don't? Thank you.
My name is Lila Knight, and I live at 1701 Burleson in Kyle. In February, this council unanimously passed a resolution supporting legislation for the regulation of groundwater to meet the needs of all groundwater users in Hays County. But yesterday, your assistant city manager testified against SB 1440. Does this city council really support the killing of a bill which they passed a resolution of support for? If so, why the change of mind? Did I miss a public vote? I don't think so. Mr. Laborde testified that this legislation will leave your city with a water shortage by 2017. But how can that be true? Mr. West testified that GBRA water is available with 1 MGD for Buda for the next 7 to 10 years. This claim of a water shortage is a fallacy, and you know it. So why does Mr. Laborde continue to act like there is no alternative water source and state this at public hearings? Mr. Laborde claimed the bill interferes with your EP water contract. No, it does not. The only thing interfering with your EP water contract is EP's inability to provide you with the water you need. EP can only prove up 2.4 MGD. That will not even fulfill Goforth's contract. He also testified that SB 1440 treats Buda citizens differently than other citizens served by the BSEACD. This is simply outrageous, and I don't believe for a second that anyone on this council believes that to be true. You know the district treats everyone the same through its regulations. But the amendments proposed by your lobbyists, who your citizens paid for, wants special exemptions, and they want special treatment for EP. Why the special treatment? There is no doubt in my mind that the people of Buda care about water conservation, they care about their neighbors, and they care about the future of this city, and they care about the future of Hays County. But in the future, perhaps it would be best if Buda is represented at the state capitol and at hearings by the elected officials and not an assistant city manager. You are the representatives of the people of this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Lila. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Louie Bond. I live at 1200 Toto Lane, Driftwood, Texas. I too was at the Senate hearings yesterday, and I was also at the House hearings. In a word, I was appalled at what happened yesterday. Mr. LaBorde, do you think this whole situation is funny? Because I thought wiener dog jokes weren't really appropriate for a Senate hearing. I mean, it's the most dignified body in our state. This is a serious matter. This is not about wiener dog races and the dog days of summer. And then you get up and you say, this bill is bad for Buda. Now, as I understand, Buda already lies within the Barton Springs Edwards Aquifer Conservation District. And the bill is meant to protect more of Hays County with the same protections your city has already with an independent, knowledgeable, respected groundwater district. Have you ever had a problem with them? Have you ever had a complaint about them? If you have, I've never heard of it. But suddenly, you spend $60,000 to fight a bill to help protect the Trinity Aquifer. What problem do you have with that? Is there something wrong with protecting the Trinity Aquifer and making sure that we make the decisions based on science? That's good for you too. What if you get into this contract with EP and somehow miraculously Anthem drops out because maybe they're working with other cities to get water, and you decide you're not going to go with this GBRA water? And what if EP can't really bring that water to you? Then where are you going to be? Because it's not proved up yet. And when you go and say that you have no other water, and a few weeks ago at Commissioner's Court, Commissioner Conley brings a document from GBRA that says, here's water, the water you need to water your lawns and everything else you say you need to do with it for 7 to 10 years. And I go to Mr. Williams during the break and I say, Mr. Williams, this is wonderful, you have this water. We don't have any water. I said, well, did you see the GBRA document? Oh yeah, I know all about that. I've known about that for a year. There's no water there. You knew about it for a year? When did you meet about it? When did you discuss it? When did you consider it when EP came to you? When did somebody say, hey, let's talk to Kyle? Yeah, they're kind of close. They're right down the road. They are willing with San Marcos to give you the water you need, not give it to you, but sell it to you. And I believe it's cheaper than the EP water. And when you start adding in billable hours and lobbyists and all these kinds of things and all the bad press you're getting, I hope y'all don't want to be reelected, because I don't think it's going to happen. You know, your people are not here defending you. Where are they? Where are they? Where are the people who speak up for you, who say, this is great, we love what you're doing? It's like Mr. Poth here, who's getting paid to be here tonight and doesn't even identify that. These people are kind of shady, you know? We're just citizens. Do you know how many days off I've had to take to cover these things? It's not fun. Please do the right thing.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Ashley Wittenberger, and my address is 407 Dawn View, Dripping Springs. I guess I really would like to address the citizens of Buda, which is weird because my back is to you, but citizens, and not the citizens who are getting paid by electropurification. And I think it's kind of futile to address the city council. It's probably about as effective as trying to reason with one of my goats. But I would encourage citizens and taxpayers in Buda to ask your city council members. Well, and I'm sorry, Ms. Dean, with all due respect to you, you are very reasonable, much more than any of my guys. But I would encourage the citizens to ask your council members and your planners, why is your council in your city fighting so hard to kill legislation that our entire county is supporting? We've got 6,000 signatures on petitions, county-wide resolutions, and many thousands of citizens who support this legislation. And why are you trying to kill? Why are your representatives trying to kill this bill when they a month ago said that they were neutral on it, and now they're not supporting it? I'd also ask your city council members, why weren't more resources for water sought out? Why just one? Isn't it law that you're supposed to do multiple requests for proposals? And they just did one? And then I'd ask yourselves, why is it that every time you hear someone speak in favor of this electropurification project, or every time you hear someone who's trying to kill the bill, they are being paid to do so? Look at how many people are here who are hardworking individuals who are not getting paid to speak in favor of the legislation that would help protect our aquifer and our groundwater, and who are opposed to this electropurification project going forward. So just do a little digging. I encourage you to be active as citizens and watch what your city council is doing and what your elected officials are doing. And I would really question their capability if they are now saying they're going to be out of water in 2017. That sounds like really bad planning. And like they may need to seek excellence elsewhere, maybe another position. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Council members. Craig Smith, 12910 Buckley Pass, Buda. I'm not paid to be here. I'm also a former city councilman who knows the type of pressure that you're under and knows the type of research that you have to do to get the water that you need. And one of the things that you are compelled to do as city council members is to find water and supply that water to the citizens of Buda. Now, some of the stark criticism that you've had tonight is kind of unjust because of the work that you've been doing. And I support the work that you're doing. The opportunities, I know that in the past, there's been many times that you have gone and tried to find water. This isn't the first, and it probably won't be the last time that you search for water. And I hope that everybody considers that when they come up here and make their comments, that this isn't an easy job for you. I know it's hard, but you got to make decisions that's best for the city, and I support what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My message tonight is Mayor Ruby. I'm sorry, Karen McBee, 1194 Rutherford Drive.
Thank you, ma'am.
My message tonight is, Mayor Ruby, you are a class act and an elected official that the city of Buda can be proud of. I read the mudslinging comment where Will Conley said what he witnessed at the Capitol was a disgrace. I was at the Capitol, and what I witnessed at the Capitol from the city of Buda representatives was not a disgrace. That's my opinion, as Will's was and as some of the other people here. Then he said, quote, "Your team is leading the effort to kill our legislation." So he called it our legislation. Who's our? In another sentence, he states, why you fight so hard to kill legislation the entire county is supporting. There he goes again. Will Conley is claiming the entire county is supporting his views. I stand to differ with his opinion on this. I've talked to a lot of people. They don't have the opinion that Will Conley has. I have heard in the past that the city of Buda and Goforth both tried to work out deals for more water from several entities for a number of years, to no avail. Now, GBRA has come up with a temporary fix. I've heard several different years. I've heard 6 and 7. The other day at the Senate, I heard 7 to 10. The only problem with it is for it's short term. It's not a sure deal. The way I understand it, it is based on other cities uncommitting water from their contracts, and the water is much more expensive from what I understand. I have to constantly keep myself in check. It is sometimes very hard to keep respectful when emotions run high. Will Conley's words and actions are not befitting of an honorable elected official, in my opinion. On another subject, I don't know why it is so much of a concern to the people in Dripping Springs, Kyle, Wimberley, Rolling Oaks, on how the city of Buda decides how to spend the city of Buda's money. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was your job to best serve the people who elected you to your position. Thank you for all you do, and know that there are a lot of people that support you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Darrell Raymond. I reside at 411 Loma Verde here in Buda. Dear City Council and Mayor, I'm here today to voice my support for the City of Buda and the Goforth Special Utility District. And let me also be clear, contrary to what some people believe, not everyone is paid by EP that supports this project. I've lived in Buda and Hays County for over 25 years. I'm a small business person here in Buda, and I've owned my business for over 20 years. In the paper last week, it was reported that our area's population has reached more than 1.9 million people, and more are coming every day. Hays County is one of the top 5 fastest growing counties in the country. I don't always agree with everything the city does or how fast they repair the streets, but one thing I do know is Buda has been on the front line of people moving out of Austin and into the hill country. We didn't just wake up yesterday and realize we need to do something about our growth. Buda has been working since late 1990 to create master plans for our growth in needs like water, roads, and neighborhoods. And we have led the way in conservation. After all, we were the first community in Hays County to install purple pipe to use treated water in places like highway medians and other areas, rather than just letting it go down the creek to the Gulf of Mexico. While I'm okay with legislation eliminating the unregulated parts of the aquifers, but I am not for what I'm not for is punishing our cities for doing what they are supposed to do. Make sure we have resources to take care of our citizens, those here today and those who are coming tomorrow. I was appalled to read the letter from County Commissioner Will Conley. To get respect, you have to show respect. I want to repeat that. To get respect, you have to show respect. And Mr. Conley certainly seems to have no respect for the 30,000 people who live and work in eastern Hays County and Buda and the Goforth area. This project to bring water from the central part of Hays County to the eastern part of Hays County needs to happen. This is Hays County water, and it's for the people of Hays County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Billy Gray. I live at 767 Main Street, almost 20 years. Thank you for what you do. Mr. Mayor and council member. Mr. Mayor, I want to ask a question about GBRA. I have a question I would like to ask them. I have a question I would like you to ask them. They stated on the record they have transmission capabilities to provide water for 7 to 10 years. We don't need to know how big the pipe is. What we really need to know is the answer to the question. The question is, GBRA, are you willing to go on the record and guarantee 1 million gallons of water a day, water that is guaranteed cannot be interrupted and the cities who are loaning the water today can't take it back for the next 7 years. Will you, GBRA, guarantee that in writing? Question 2, Mr. Conley keeps claiming that the GBA water is cheaper, but I have not seen a specific dollar quoted by Mr. Conley or GBRA. Please tell us exactly how much the water will cost. Thank you for your job.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rebecca Hatch. I live at 216 Lear Avenue in Buda, Texas. Unlike many of these folks here in this room, I am a resident of the city of Buda, and I am very proud to be able to vote for the elected officials in Buda. And I want to commend you for what you've been doing. And I know that many people in this room may suspect what I say because of my last name, but I want to tell you that I have been a resident of Northern Hays County and Buda for 20 years. And if the other fine folks sitting in this room think that what I'm saying is because of some payment agreement, they are wrong. They discount the 20 years of civic and public and community service through my church, through my homeowners association, through Buda Elementary, Elm Grove Elementary, Dahlstrom Middle School, Hays High School, Hays Booster Club, many, many, many other public service. So I just want to tell you thank you. And I want to commend you for what you're doing and support you in working for what is best for the citizens of the city of Buda, which you are elected to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. My name's Eddie Odell, 1194 Rutherford Drive. I just want to thank y'all for what y'all have done. I don't have a whole lot to say tonight. I would like to think that Commissioner Conley was a little better man than the way he attacked you on social media last night. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.